Well, forward-looking disclosure is information which investors, customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders use in order to make decisions about their involvement with the organization. So really important there is information on the external environment of the organization and how that might impact on strategy. So information which will influence risks and opportunities. Now that might be about the political environment that the organization is operating in. It might be about climate change scenarios and variables and the science around climate change and how that might impact risks and opportunities for the organization. So a whole range of issues. And usually a company will go and talk to its stakeholders to identify what those key issues might be in the external environment, but also think about those issues from its own perspective, talk to industry associations relevant to the organization and the like, and engage with politicians, with scientists, so a whole range of stakeholders to engage in, plus also an internal analysis of what those key issues might be. And then it's a case of identifying, how big these issues are for the organization. What sort of a risk do they present for the organization? Do they present opportunities? So can the business change its business model, change its strategy to adapt to some of these issues? And so to really make it robust, an organization needs a very a robust approach to this whole stakeholder engagement and analysis and thinking about these issues. So a plan of who it's going to engage with and where it's going to look for the sources of information. And then a process for identifying which are the really big priority issues that need to be incorporated. Ideally, it should involve the board. So the board should be involved in, thinking about which are the really big issues. And the board should definitely be involved in thinking about how these issues might influence the strategy of the organization. And all of those things, the process, the strategy, should be recorded in the organization's disclosures, in its reports.
Forward-looking disclosure is important, especially for the investors, because they are to hold the shares in the future. And of course, they would like to know what the future might bring for the company. So that is important for them. But it's also important for the company itself, so that they are clarified about how their strategy is aligned with the future.
Well, the challenges are around the uncertainty about forward-looking disclosures. So it's hard to be as objective in identifying the size of the risks and opportunities that are presented by the issues that we're talking about. So as I said, the process is really important, having a robust process of identifying the various issues, having a sort of a process of oversight, the senior management team being involved, and then the board being involved in a final assessment of the various issues that need to be included in forward-looking disclosures. So there's always going to be some subjectivity, but the process and the approach is really important in reducing that as far as possible.
Challenges are especially related to companies who are on the stock exchange, because they might face litigation issues and they might have issues providing forward-looking disclosures also financially. So what I would recommend is that they focus on the risk side, because that is more common to provide that kind of information, and it's also actually often something they are obliged to do to the investors, whereas the information about the opportunities that might be more problematic for them to provide, and I would recommend them to try to avoid it if that is problematic. But at least try to look into the risk, because that is also important when you look into your contingent liabilities and your provisions. So that is already